All right, sorry about being out of breath and my hair being crazy. Just got back from a bike ride. But here is part 2 of morning work Monday, week 26, questions 3 through 10. Let's do it.
All right, number 3, week 26, Monday morning work. 25% of the candy is what Billy ate, and there were 48 pieces. Important to know that there were 48. So that means that 48 is the what? It's the total, it's the whole. So if we had a whole here, right, and we had parts, right, 48 would be the whole. So that means on my tape diagram, where would 48 go? It would go at the end right there. 48 is the total. 0 would be nothing. So the top I'm going to use as my percentage. And you can see that by the numbers, but I'll put the percentage sign. And the bottom is going to be our candy. And so the other part you need to understand is what 25% is. Now this is one I've said you just need to memorize because this is basic knowledge. We need to know that 25% is 0.25 or 25 hundredths, which is a quarter, 1/4. There's 25 cents in a dollar. Per cent is per 100. So 25 per 100 is 1/4 because it takes 4 quarters to equal a dollar. So that lets you just draw a tape diagram with 4 pieces and fill in one of them as our 25%. And now all I have to do is take my 48 total and divide it by 4 to figure out what each of these bars will be. And so, 12. And then 24, 36. So he ate 12, right? 12 is what he ate, 12 pieces. And you can put your little label there. Are there other ways to do this? Absolutely. You could always just do, since 48 is the total, we can multiply that by 25% or 0.25. We'll get the same answer. So I know a lot of us have learned that if we just take the 48 and multiply it by 25% as a decimal, which is 0.25, we will get 12. I don't know why there's a little dot in front of 12 there. I can't seem to erase it, but whatever. 5 times 8 is 40, 5 times 4 is 20, plus 4 is 24. Drop the 0, then we have 16, and then 9. And if we add that together, how many you want to bet we get 12? Yeah, me too. 4 plus 6 is 10, and that's 12. And then how many decimal place values were in our problem? Right here, it wasn't 0.25, the 2 and the 5, a decimal place value, so there's 2 there. It means I need 2 in my problem, in my answer, and of course I end up with a whole number of 12. For number 4, we have median, which as we saw last week and we've talked before, it means middle, and so I need to first order them. Step 1 with data, order from least to greatest, and then step 2, find the middle. And so what you'll find with 8 pieces of data is that you will not have a true middle. You'll have 2 numbers in the middle. So the question is, what's between those? Well, this one's easy. What's between 16 and 16? 16. But no matter what numbers they are, you add them together, right? And then you divide by 2 because you're basically finding the mean of the 2 middle numbers, and that will give you the true numeric middle. So 16 plus 16 is 32, and 32 divided by 2 is 16. So just to prove my point, there you go. For mean, which is average, we add up all of our numbers, and then we divide by how many there are. So remember, that's the plus, then divide. So we added these up. I did a little caret method, and I ended up with 228 as my total. Then I divided it by 4 because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers, and I get 57. So my final answer as my mean is 57. 6 and 7 go together. The question is it going to make a straight line when we plot these points? Now remember, x is our left and right axis. Tells us what's going left if it's negative, right if it's positive, and then y is our up and down axis. It tells us what's going up if it's positive, down if it's negative. So let's take these and plot them over on our graph. And so I'll go ahead and start with my -1, which is left 1, down 1. So I'm going to plot my point right here. Then we have 0, 0, which is at our point of origin. Then we have our right 1, up 1, because it was +1, +1. And then I can already tell, what is this making? Yep, it is making a straight line. So we can go back to question number 7 and say, yep. For number 8, important information here is that there's 3 teachers and there's 3 classes of 25 students each, which of course you have to multiply those to find out that there's 75 students total. And then it asks for the ratio of teachers to students. And of course, teachers was first, so that's 3 teachers, and there's a total of 75 students. But I'm sure you'll recognize that 3 and 75 can both be divided by 3. This can be simplified, right? This is 3 25s, and this is 3 ones, sorry. And so 3 divided by 3 is 1, and that's where this comes from. And 75 divided by 3 is 25. So 3 classes of 25, 1 teacher per 25 kids, would give you 3 teachers for 75 kids. With our ratio tables, we're always looking to find our relationship between the 2 rows or 2 columns, depending on if it's set up horizontal like this or if it's a vertical one going left to right. In this case, how are 4 and 12 related? Well, going down, I can see that it's going to be times 3, and I check that over here as 8 times 3, 24. Yep, which means going up is the opposite of times 3. What's the opposite of times 3? Divided by 3. And so 12 divided by 3 is 4, is 24 divided by 3, 8. Yep, so now we're just going to do 5 times 3, 15, and 9 times 3, 27. So, simple multiplication or division question here. We're going to have our time of 35 hours is how long that it took in the car to drive, which is a ridiculous amount of time in a car, by the way. 2,450 miles is the distance that they covered, and the question is how fast, right? And how fast would be a speed or what we call a rate. So we can use the DIRT, or distance equals rate times time formula, and we can just simply plug in our numbers. Miles is an amount of distance, so we're going to put 2,450 on that side of the equal sign. Then we don't know what our rate is, our speed, which is what we're looking for, but we do know our time is 35, so I'm going to say times 35 because that's what you do with R and T. And now I'm just going to divide by 35, right? 2,450 divided by 35 will find my answer, because if I divide that by 35, it will cancel this out, leaving me R. And if I divide this by 35, I'll get what R is. And so you can do that work, but find out that your R is going to equal 70 what? How do you rate speed in a car? So you probably know it's miles per hour, but remember, it gives you that. It tells you this is your distance per your time. And so a rate is a distance per time. And so it will be miles per hour, which means for every 1 hour, I will go 70 miles. So to prove that, I can do my 70 miles per hour, and I'm going just to pretend that that 0 is, I'll show you here in a second what I mean, multiplied by 35 should give me 2,450. So I'm just going to do the 7 times 35, and then I'm going to throw the 0 on at the end. A little trick we can do with zeros. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 3 is 21, plus 3 is 24. Throw that 0 on, and bada bing, bada boom, you get your distance. All right, guys, so that was part 2 of the morning work week 26 Monday. I won't do 2 parts anymore, sorry about that, but hope the explanations were helpful. Talk to you later.